Hello, Browns fans. Welcome on into our latest practice report. Coming to you from Berea here on a Friday, the final week of practice ahead of the Browns matchup with the Baltimore Ravens. A big one, massive one this weekend with some really, really serious stakes. Ravens obviously sitting atop the division at 7-2. You got the Browns 5-3, trying to stay in the hunt for the division. And if you don't beat Baltimore on Sunday, those hopes are almost minuscule or wiped away completely. So it's a big one coming up. And unfortunately for the Browns, they are going to be going into it pretty shorthanded. It's been a story of injuries really all season long since week one when Jack Conklin went down. You had Nick Chubb 1 week later in week two, and it has spiraled into now we go into week 10, and the injuries continue to pile up, specifically this week at along the offensive line at the tackle positions. We know Jedrick Wills earlier in the week was placed on the IR with an MCL injury. He will be back at some point this season, is the expectation. So that's the good news there. But obviously, he's out this week against the Ravens. Making matters worse for the Browns at the tackle position, Dwan Jones, standout rookie who has just been absolutely phenomenal for the Browns this year, filling in for Jack Conklin, a godsend out of the fifth round. He is now ruled out for the Browns this weekend, as Kevin Stefanski let us know once practice concluded today. And that was kind of the assumption anyway. When we were out there, we were able to kind of get our eyes on the team a little bit. Dewan was off on the side using the stationary bike, going through some other things. And that's generally a sign when a guy isn't practicing at all on a Friday and they miss practice all week, probably not going to play. So that was kind of the assumption going in. Kevin Stefanski confirmed it today, and that sets the stage essentially for the Browns to start James Hudson at one of the tackle positions, something that Kevin Stefanski wouldn't clarify which one he's going to be at on Sunday against Baltimore, which understandably he's trying to keep it close to the vest, but they will be starting him at one of the tackle spots on Sunday. And around him on the opposite side with no Jedrick Wills, no Dwan Jones, it's going to be some combination of Hudson and Leroy Watson or Garon Christensen, who are two guys that were both signed from practice squads in recent weeks. So not necessarily what you're looking for against a Baltimore team that obviously has an extremely talented pass rush. They lead the NFL with 35 sacks this year. You got Kyle Van Noy, who has, I think, 5 on the season. You got Adafi Owu, who's been fantastic for them. You got our old friend here in Cleveland, Jadeveon Clowney, as a pass rusher who's done some nice things this year for Baltimore. And that obviously is going to be a challenge. Keeping Deshaun Watson upright in the pocket when you don't have your starting tackle positions and really a backup who's been a very formidable starter for you, but 3 tackles deep now, you are into your depth chart as you're sort of just weathering the storm here as best you can. I think that is a game-changing note for this matchup. Baltimore obviously is going to get after the pass. They're going to make life hard for Deshaun Watson. How effective will he be if the pockets aren't really forming or if he's just running for his life the entire game? This is truly a position or an injury, 2 injuries that could change the perspective and the outlook on this game. A game that I felt if you at least have your tackles, I understand like Nick Chubb, he's been out for a while. Jack Conklin, he's been out for a while among others, right? But you have your tackle positions now down to 2 backups who are starting for you, and yeah, like that is a matchup that a couple weeks ago when they played in week 4, you felt like the defense kind of kept you in it. And if the offense, if DTR had been set up for more success, or if Deshaun Watson was even out there, maybe you have a chance. And that's the one element here. Like the defense can always keep the Browns in a game, but you just wonder the combination of how good Baltimore's been playing right now. They are rolling offensively. Seems like they're really getting into rhythm in this Todd Monken offense with Lamar Jackson under center. Obviously, we all know how talented he is. And you throw in the fact that their defense is aggressive. They get after the quarterback, and now you're missing 2 key offensive linemen on the bookends there of the offensive line. Not a great situation for the Browns to be walking into. But it's the NFL. Anybody can win on any given Sunday. And Deshaun Watson, you gave up 3 first-round draft picks for him to be the type of player that can win you these types of games, even when you're banged up and you're dealing with a lot of injuries and your offensive line isn't necessarily up to snuff. So we'll see if he can get that job done. On the flip side of that, we talked about the defense. I mentioned the defense for the Browns, which has obviously been best in the league this year, is what Grant Delpit obviously said early in the week of practice, but certainly statistically in that conversation as well. And the Ravens aren't too far behind. Two really, really good defenses going up against each other. But specific to the Browns, this is going to be another situation for them as they look to get healthier. Greg Newsome did practice in a limited capacity again on Friday. He was limited on Thursday as well. He was in the locker room after practice, after our media availability for Myles Garrett and Kevin Stefanski, and he mentioned that his goal is to play this Sunday, which would be a huge boost for the defense. That obviously lost Cameron Mitchell from this past game, who was filling in pretty admirably, I will add, for Greg Newsome a week ago. It'd be nice to get Greg back out there, contribute on the defensive side of the ball, and you have sort of your top three, your top tier corners trying to lock down the Ravens passing game and Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, and Martin Emerson. So that would obviously be huge. But from a pass rushing standpoint, yeah, the as much as the Ravens can get after the passer, we know the Browns can do the same thing. And I asked Myles Garrett specifically. I thought this was an interesting nugget here, just about when you're going up against Lamar Jackson versus other quarterbacks. Is there anything you have to do differently? Because he can make you miss in a phone booth. He's so athletic. And here's what he had to say about how he approaches this matchup with Lamar Jackson.
I never stop wrestling. Never think the play is over. You think, maybe if you're double teamed or you fall on a play, you think, ball's going to be out. I mean, possibly. They have a good percentage of plays that get out within 2 seconds, but they also lead the league with pass plays for over 3 seconds, where he's holding the ball, he's scrambling, he's sitting behind the line trying to find someone and wait till someone's open, or he's making it happen himself and finding a lane. So you have to just know that you might be playing for 6 seconds, you might be playing for 15 seconds on one play, but don't assume the play is over just because something happens or you're in a bad position, because he would be the one to hold the next play.
I think that was really well said by Myles. It is a relentless pursuit when you are going after Lamar Jackson. There's no rest for the weary. You can't quit on a play because, again, he can make you miss, and it could do a lot of damage to your defense. As we saw that first matchup the first time around, he was able to have his way with Cleveland's defense as the game kind of wore on, and that was one of the biggest differences in that matchup, aside from the fact that the Browns offense really couldn't move the ball. So obviously, things are different this time around for both teams. Ravens are a lot healthier than they were back then. Browns probably a little bit less healthier, but you do have your X factor on offense and Deshaun Watson back under center, and that's supposed to be a big difference maker for you. So defense will have their hands full. Offense certainly the same with a very, very talented Ravens defense on the other side. But we'll see if the Browns are up to the task coming your way on Sunday. I'm excited for the fact that I will be on the scene with you on Sunday, pre-game, post-game, all of it, covering everything Browns and Ravens with you. So be sure to subscribe, I should say, to the Browns Digest YouTube page. But in the meantime, this is the latest from Berea, and be sure to keep up with all things Cleveland Browns over at BrownsDigest.com.